Hey guys, this is Spencer from Destructoid.com, and today I'm hanging out with Jake of Cardboard Computer.
Howdy.
Your game, well, the game you worked on, Kentucky Route Zero, has been nominated for multiple awards. You want to talk about that?
Talk about it? Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's a really great year for the IGF, so that's like super exciting. We're in a really good company. Super excited about the narrative category this year. Like everything in that category is stuff that we've been really playing over the last year or so, either in beta stages or some of them are released. And games like Cart Life and Dysphoria and Gone Home are like some of our favorite games right now. So we're really happy to be part of this year's IGF crowd.
It's definitely super competitive. So for the people who don't know, who maybe aren't indie enough to know, Kentucky Route Zero is like a text-based adventure choice game about the Appalachians and dogs.
Well, kind of. It's there's a lot of text in it. It's pretty text heavy, but it's also very visual game. It's not quite in the Appalachians. It's in like central Kentucky, which is like around where Mammoth Cave is. This big cave system. It's mostly about working class people from this region, which is kind of Midwest, South, kind of in the border between those two regions of the United States. And it's also, we call it like a magical realist game. So it has these sort of fantastical magical elements in it too.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler, but there are in fact ghosts within like the first 2 minutes of the game. So it very, very early on sets itself in this weird kind of parallel world. What was the impetus behind setting it in Kentucky? Because I mean, not only do we not see a lot of games set in like the real world, but we see these like fantastical, like the Russians invaded kind of worlds, but we also don't see the South, moreover, represented. Did you guys just like go to Kentucky and see it, or like what's going on?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time in Kentucky, both of us, Tomas, my partner, and I, and my girlfriend's from Kentucky, so I'm always there to visit family and stuff. And also, like as I mentioned, Kentucky's the site of Mammoth Cave, this huge cave system, which is also the location where Colossal Cave Adventure is set. It's this text adventure from the 70s. It's like the first adventure game, so it has this kind of historical importance for video games also.
I think one of the most important parts of your game, like moving forward as a medium, is that the choices. This game is very kind of choice heavy, but in a way that more accurately represents reality, and that every conversation you have does have choices, but the entire world isn't dependent on you, at least not so far. What was your kind of reasoning behind writing the game in this structure?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of like games that are about empowerment and about power fantasies, and this is really a game that's about the kind of people that we know and that we live with and interact with all the time. And a lot of those people are in a lot of different kinds of ways really disempowered by the sort of the world that we all live in. And so this game in Kentucky Route Zero, the choice making is kind of about the kinds of choices that you might have available to you as a person who's not like a living power fantasy or something, So you can't be as strategic in this game as you can in other sort of choice-driven games, like some of the BioWare games, or that are about making strategic dialogue choices. In this one, you're sort of making choices that are either poetic, or you're making them out of curiosity, or you just don't know why you're making them. This is more like the kind of choices we find ourselves making in our day-to-day lives anyway.
And I definitely think that's one of the strengths of the game, in that it's kind of, I mean, the easiest comparison to make to the game is Telltale's game, The Walking Dead. But I feel like that's kind of too easy a comparison to make, because they're still fairly different. But your game does kind of line up in that regard, that there are choices that you're always making, but you don't necessarily see the outcomes of them and the effects immediately. Do you have any games that you would say influenced your development of this? Like, were you affected by The Walking Dead, or is this just kind of always been your very pure vision?
No, I don't think it's by any means pure. There's nothing about it that's pure, but definitely we play a lot of other games, look at a lot of games. Most of the games that we're really closely inspired by are maybe like games like interactive fiction games, and some of these text adventures made in Twine over the last year or two. And a lot of those games, are about very personal kind of things, and they're again not about these power fantasies. Walking Dead is really great, and we both have played it and love it. And we were kind of struck by some of the similarities that we started on this game about 2.5 years ago. So when Walking Dead came out, it was just like, wow, there's all these similarities. It's set in the South. It's episodic and all this stuff. And Walking Dead does a really great job. One thing that I really love about Walking Dead is the way that the dialogue is written. That it's all very naturalistic. And So yeah, that's something that I have looked at in that game and doing some of the writing for KRZ is like because the writing in KRZ is not all naturalistic. Like some of it is very flowery and weird, but at times I do want it to have that sort of real world kind of feel, conversational feel, and that's something they do really well in that game.
I would say, as I played through the first episode, which is the only one that's out right now, I noticed a lot of similarities between Clementine in The Walking Dead and your unnamed dog, who kind of acted as your moral center, and I always felt a bit poorly whenever I made the dog upset. But do you have plans for for all of the episodes to come out? Do you have like a date or some kind of window for the remaining episodes?
Yeah, we're trying to do them over the course of the next year. So our goal would be to have Act 5 released in January 2014, which is 1 year after Act 1 was released. So that gives us about 3 months for each one. And it took us like 2 years to get to this point, but we developed all this technology, we developed all this workflow, and so we kind of, this is an estimate based on what we know we can kind of do. So that's our goal right now. Yeah.
So how can people at home get access to this game? Do they have to come and just play it at conventions, or where can I throw money at you?
Yeah, you can. So actually, yeah, conventions is probably the worst place to play this game, but it is here. But you can get it on Steam, or you can get it through our website, which is KentuckyRouteZero.com.
And it's $25 for the entire season?
Yeah, but it's on sale for the next couple of days for like $20 or so.
All right, thank you so much for talking to me, Jake. You've definitely made one of the best games of the year, and I can't wait to play the rest of the episodes.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, and for everybody at home, Kentucky Route Zero is available on Steam, which is one of the easiest ways to get it, and KentuckyRouteZero.com.
Yep.
$25 for the full season. It'll be unraveling throughout the next, hopefully, 12 months. I cannot recommend it enough. Definitely go check it out. And for the rest of your IGF and GDC news, definitely stick around to Destructoid.com.